And I think as soon as you start giving reasons, and then it means that it's conditional. For me, I was a little scared because I've always had some control over how I appear. It is difficult, but I don't regret that we did it. Would I do it again? I don't know.
No. All right, well, it's a Friday and it's time for Love, Marriage and Family Podcast. And thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mo, and of course, I'm with the lovely Pindelicious.
Yeah. Guys, it's our pleasure to be back again in this platform. We're always excited, when it comes to dropping a new episode, because we know that whatever episode that we're dropping, it's always, we take time, to look at the people that we bring in this platform. And every time we make sure that we bring you the best, right? Because we love you that much. So it's no exception this week. We've got the amazing couple. You may have seen them in their reality show on Mzansi Magic or just on the socials. They are none other than the Balas.
Loyiso and Jen in the house.
We have Loyiso Bala and his beautiful wife, Jennifer Bala. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much. We're honored to be here with the power couple. I've never heard Mo's name just on his own, Pindi's name just on her own. It's always Mo and Pindi.
Yeah.
We don't even know their surnames.
It's actually the surname.
Exactly.
Pindi is Mo's surname.
Oh, you guys. How are you guys? So good to have you.
We're good. We just had a very eventful day today, but we made it.
You are
We're glad
here
to be here. Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
It's so good to be sitting with Loyiso, because the last time, the second last time we're with you, you were interviewing us on TBN.
Oh, yes, for TBN.
Yes.
That is what it was.
I
remember.
We're still going to talk about that, but after the show.
Now you're on the other side, all right?
I've got a short memory, so
Good
Good
luck. Man, God, it's so good to be here. But without wasting any time, as we had said prior, this platform is for us to get to know you a little bit better, more than anything else. And we always start with a very simple question. How did you guys meet? Like...
I'm just kidding.
Can I tell you
Started
something?
with the fireworks.
Can I tell you? I always wonder. I'm like, where, at church?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
We wish.
Yeah.
Do you want to start a show?
You go, baby, you go.
It's quite a story, so we'll try and keep it brief.
The lady's story is always the accurate one.
Let's go for Jen's version.
So I was living in London at the time.
Yeah.
He was a friend of a mutual acquaintance.
Okay.
He can talk about the acquaintance. And I got a call saying, there's 8, was it 8 of you?
8 of us, yeah.
8 of them. So it was him, Zwei, his manager, Jamali. I think that was it.
Yeah.
They were coming through from Norway on the way back to SA, but they needed a place for a few days in London. I was in a house share with professionals. They were all on holiday, so I was the only one there. So I called everyone up, said, hey, is it okay if I have people over? Because, you got to ask. And then, we got to meet each other, showed them around town. They had a few other things they had planned. I think his manager even ended up staying. We're still friends. He stayed with me for about 6 weeks at the end.
Yeah.
They had already long left by then. And so we became friends instantly. And I guess the friendship eventually blossomed into something more over long distance. But that's the shortest version I've ever told.
Okay, that's quite short.
It is. Okay,
I'm interested as to who said what to who.
Okay.
So I'll just elaborate. Obviously, I'm meeting Jennifer for the very first time. She had actually been living in South Africa for 5 years.
Okay.
So she knew a lot of the people that I knew.
For much longer than that. I was in Joburg.
And as much as she knew me, if you can think of that time, this is 2007.
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
2008.
2008.
I think so.
Okay. So this is 2008. Look, I know the day we got married. I know the year. But when we met, it's okay if I get that one.
Never
wrong.
forget
I'm
that.
just saving myself quickly.
We believe you.
And for me, like what was really just so refreshing is that yes, you know, we became friends first, but for the first time, I obviously met someone of the opposite sex, you know, who didn't see me for what people saw me back home, you know, Loyiso the celebrity that, like, you know, I mean, like for a lot of the girls that obviously I had met and I'd gone out with here, there was always that element because they were sort of living in the kingdom where, do you know what I mean? Like where I was being celebrated quite a lot. But with her, I've still today actually, it's like it was just all about me. So so I felt that I could really sort of be vulnerable towards her. I could totally be myself. I wasn't trying to prove a point at all. And for the first time, I've just begun to realize that actually, this is something way different than I've ever had with you know, like with anyone else. And you can imagine that, like my friends at the time, we only met to talk about girls and to party and to talk about music. And for the first time, I felt like there was someone I could really be vulnerable with. And she taught me a lot, you know, because she was quite worldly then, as much as I was exposed to a lot, you know, in the world. But Jennifer's well-traveled, born, you know, we call it overseas here, grew up, you know, so born in Europe, grew up in Ghana, and then worked in the UK, and obviously also grew up a little bit here. I was here for 5 years. So for me, it was just so refreshing. And it was at that moment I was like, wow, man, this person is way different than this kind of feels like home. This kind of feels like, you know, this is where I can plant myself and I can grow.
Yeah. And at what point do romantic feelings and romantic thoughts and all of that come in?
Or were they there from day one?
I think initially it was like, hey, this person's interesting. Like,
I was a mess, though.
We clicked.
We
It's
so
like,
interesting.
we were just friends, like we've known each other.
Yeah.
But I think romantic feelings started probably a lot later when we had a lot of conversations. I was kind of a bit of his therapist at the beginning. Tried to, like a sounding board.
I'm sure, with a lot of people.
And giving him, I guess, things straight, you know. And trying to help, basically. And then by doing so, you get to know each other more on a deeper level. And I think that's when sort of, you know, feelings started creeping in.
And
so we were friends first.
Who was the first person to actually
say
I'm interested?
It was me. So here's where it becomes a little complicated. It was the fact that, you know, I was involved with someone at the time.
Okay.
You know, when these obviously feelings sort of grew for Jen. Sorry, but that was the truth. Okay. And so it was just a matter of, and she obviously, you know, she knew about it. And so I'm just like, listen, there's this thing that's starting to develop. And Jennifer kept saying, well, if this is what you want, and then you need to make sure that, you know, you break it off. You know, with the person I was with, I was with, you know.
Wait. I said it's either you fix it or you break, but it's not fair to the other person.
The therapist is saying not just break it off.
You have to decide.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was single, so I'm like, you know.
Fix it. Yeah.
Well, because initially, you know, you're not sure. Like, is it really, you know? Or you know what I'm saying? Maybe you are meant to be together, but you haven't fixed it.
That's
you know
true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I knew, I mean, like, look, I knew that, you know, my relationship that I was in at the time was over. You know, before I met Jen, but. Sometimes as men, we want to just see things kind of just happen naturally. But there needs to come that time when you say, okay, cool. Let me actually close the store so that I can properly open, you know, this other, a new one. And with fear and trembling, probably the hardest thing I had to do, I had to eventually do that because I didn't want to lose her.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if you would have lost me anyway as a friend because I wanted to just sort of take a step back and be like,
I don't want to be involved.
So let me tell you what it is, right? There's a bit of selfishness here, right? Is that I just couldn't imagine. I mean, of course, yeah, we can remain friends, but I just couldn't imagine her with someone else. I was like, I think for that thing,
yeah.
Let me, let me
I can
fix,
actually picture that.
Let me
Yeah.
fix
that,
this,
yeah. Yeah.
You always find, it's funny, actually, I mean, like even in breakups, you always find with someone breaking up with you, but you actually ever get to know how much you love them when you see them with someone else.
Yeah.
And I'd been through, one or two of those. So I was like, not this time around.
This is not going to happen.
I was like, it can't happen now.
You see?
It can't.
And there's, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I actually realized that I should have started with what happened before I met him, to be honest, because I had been in a relationship with the only older person I dated ever, and it was very toxic. We liked each other and we got along, but it was quite toxic. And I was walking home one day from work and I said, you know what, actually, God, I can't do this. I'm just not this person.
Yeah.
If I don't ever get married, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be in a relationship like this.
Oh, wow.
And so I called it quits. This was probably about 3 months before we met.
Yeah.
And then when I met him and we became friends, that was like 3 months later.
Yeah.
And when things started changing to have feelings, I was like, wow, that was like kind of quick
That
if you
was
think
quick.
about it. You know what I mean? Even though it obviously took some time, but still.
Yeah.
So it was once I just prayed my way through that. And I felt like, okay, so it's a sign. Because in hindsight, when we spoke a lot, we had a lot of mutual friends here in SA.
Yeah.
He would have been to this party. I was there, but I didn't see you. But maybe I left. Maybe we just didn't see each other.
Maybe you came later or something.
And very, very like, it's almost like we were passing ships all the time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that for us was quite uncanny. It was like, okay, clearly it's like, it doesn't matter where you go. God said you have to meet this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was quite memorable in terms of how we met.
Yeah. So obviously when you guys met initially, you were in London, you said?
Yeah.
And they were passing through or visiting.
Yeah.
And the decision to move all the way to SA? When did that happen?
So he actually wasn't wrong in the sense that I had spent 5 years in Joburg, but I had been in South Africa since 1994, literally 2 months before Mandela came out. So since I was 16. And I moved to Joburg, obviously, in 2001, and then I left Joburg in 2005 to go to the UK.
Yeah.
So I have a Polish passport, so I was there. I didn't need a visa and all that. They were still part of the European Union at the time. And I had decided after 5 years, I would definitely leave, whether I go back to SA or go somewhere else like Australia or the US, that remained to be seen. But obviously, since I had met him, when that time came, I said, let me just go to SA. If it doesn't work out, I know my way around. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I agreed with her. I was like,
Of course you
I think
would.
of all the places we want to go to, South Africa would be, would be
a better option for you.
Yeah. So here's the crazy part, is that I knew that obviously if she had to now move to South Africa, because we're all, we're both. I was approaching 30. You were like 31.
I was already 30.
Yeah.
I was already 30.
You were like 31, and I knew, okay, cool. Look, if I'm gonna do this, there's something in me that's gotta let me know that, okay, cool, this is the person that I think I'm gonna be with,
Yeah.
So, so in saying that, because imagine having to break up this poor girl. Though there's nothing poor about you.
Absolutely
but this poor
nothing.
girl left everything, left her job when she was really rising up the corporate ladder to come over here. And then suddenly I'm going to break her heart like that, you know? And so I, if anyone has to know, obviously before I asked her to marry me, when did I realize? I think that plant was that plant was seeded. Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
That seed was planted.
That plant.
Plant was seeded. That seed was planted during the times when I used to visit the UK to go and see her.
Yeah.
So I always knew that she's gonna come through, maybe it's a matter of just a few months, and then I'll pop the question. Because the truth is, I had secretly never believed in marriage.
Wow.
You are kidding me.
I believed it for other people because I saw it working.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't come to terms with the fact that you're gonna be with someone. 10 years later, I just think people are just pretending. Oh, we love each other for 10. I'm like, well, I don't know. Nothing would have gone wrong. And she may be as pretty as you want. But I'm sure 2.5 years later. My previous relationships, when it came to 2.5 years, I was like, Gishap, I think I'm good,
Yeah.
And then there was that mutual parting.
Yeah.
But with Jen, it was just different, man. It was like home.
This is
Do you
Jen.
know what I mean? Like, it was
She
home.
won't let you go.
Yeah, it was like home, So
Oh,
that's when I knew. So
wow.
when people say, how did you actually know that this is the person? Because the truth is, everybody that you meet, you fall in love with.
That's the
You're
truth.
head over heels. So how do you know that there probably won't be
This
another
one,
one?
yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
always go, the answer, which we always give, as guys, is, I just knew.
Yeah.
And
Which doesn't mean much to the person who's listening. Like,
No,
I
it
just knew.
doesn't.
What
Yeah.
did you know?
it doesn't. It seems like you're
Yeah.
making up excuses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with her,
You just knew.
I just knew. Like,
Yeah.
I just knew. It's something that I can't, that I can't explain. They'd be like, but why? And I think as soon as you start giving reasons,
Yeah.
and then, it means that it's conditional. But
Yeah.
unconditional means that I don't know what the conditions were or what the
Right.
conditions
Yeah.
or what the conditions are going to be, but I just know that this is the person that I want to be with. Forever.
And sometimes
wow.
it happens that that reason only gets revealed to you years into the marriage. And some things happen, you live your life and so on, and you're like,
I
this
see
is
why.
I think that's where you are.
because I always say that about Pini, that, if I were to be married to any other woman, I don't know if that marriage would last. Because the things that we went through and how we handled ourselves, throughout, those things and so on. When did you, or what are some of those things for you guys that made you say, okay, it's more than just I knew, you actually are now able to say, man, this and that, this is the reason.
Jen, you don't regret your decision to move to the country?
To be honest, I'm sure there have been moments in the past, especially in the early years, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's always the
he's had
case.
them too, But well, first of all, I'm not a quitter. I always give my all,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. And I knew that once I get married, I'm not just going to give up the early, at the first problem,
Yeah.
or first sign of trouble. But also, I took my time. I mean, most people probably thought I wasn't going to get married because, getting married, I was 34 when we got married.
Yeah.
Kind of late for women these days, although it shouldn't be, but, it was kind of a thing. So I think, I don't know, I think you must go first. I need to think about this one.
Think about this one? I'll go. I think if anyone has brought complications to this marriage, it's me. I think number one, first of all, because of my career, it's complicated. To have a life where you travel so much. You're trying to build a family this side, but there's so much public pressure in it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously now I've learned how to sort of handle that. Yeah. The weekends where I've got to be away, and yet those are the weekends when I have to spend time, with the kids. As musicians, you kind of make money at these times, and then other times you just don't. So it's really sort of financially, and I think also as creatives we have a different personality than everyone else. I see you guys also as creators,
Yeah.
but thank God you're both crazy.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah, one thinks that they're less crazy than the other, but actually you're both crazy. So, and I believe that, through all of that also, and I want to just obviously bring this, this in now. We met in the UK, and obviously now Jen being exposed to my culture and how much, that intrudes into marriages.
Yeah.
And that, when you're coming from the outside, and sort of having to deal with all of that, I think, she's still here. And I think 90% of women who were in her position would have probably gone, you know what, this is not worth it for me. Jennifer comes, from a family of high achievers.
Yeah.
Both her mom and dad, doctors. The reason that she was staying, in all these different countries was because her parents were successful in what they did. Her brother also, very successful, in what he does as a doctor. So literally, whole families in different places all over the world. But yet, she would come to this earth. No, I'm teasing. But yet, she would definitely stand for all of this. Yeah. And I've become a better person. I don't think that anyone would have been able to support me the way that I have. And the fact that, just to see that sacrifice of a woman, not many, especially, 2024, not many women would do that for someone. Yeah.
Sadly.
So I think I've answered even just.
No, that's look, that's very sad when you say, when you end that with, not many women, because can I tell you, the idea of marriage means so many different things to different people. Often we affix meaning to marriage based on our own experiences. And those of us who are lucky enough to have grown in that environment with both mom and dad married, and even though you don't quite see, because often as Africans, they would hide whatever struggles they go through. You don't quite see, you see them when they divorce that, there was a problem. You don't see them when actually they're going through the thing. So often, that does something to you, whether they remain together for whatever, 50 years or whatever, they remain together, you still don't know, what it is that they went through. And so the meaning we would affix to marriage, it'll be based on those experiences. If, again, those of us who have grown up in environments where, there was no father, you also get to that point where you're like, marriage, I don't think that's for me. You know what I mean? And all of that. So people make then decisions based on their own journeys and their own sort of experiences and so on. So you guys don't strike us as people who will be like, TV show? Yeah, let's go.
It took 2.5 years.
You are so right, especially Loyiso. I think when the idea of the show started coming out, I was probably one of the people like, what? No ways.
Probably took them 2.5 years to convince us.
I didn't realize how entertaining you guys are. I actually think that's one part that you guys have been able to hide as a family for quite a while. To expand on Mo's question.
Yeah.
Go for it.
How, like, you are not those people who always been out there as much as you were known as a family, but people will not know what is happening within the family space.
Yeah.
You were private but public. How did that come about? You changed on us just like that.
We thought we knew you.
Listen to a reality show.
The discussion happened, I think, at the start of COVID, right?
Yeah, we were still very much in Joburg then.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we would be open to it, and we'll see, how it goes. Maybe this will spark some communication, since there are a lot of avoidance issues and things that need to be resolved for decades, Maybe this will be the catalyst, that was the hope. So I think 2 years on, then the conversation started again.
Continued, yeah.
And I think by that time we had moved, right?
Yeah, we were about to move
to
at that
PE.
time. Yeah.
And then, funny enough, once we moved, suddenly everyone started moving in the family.
It's gonna be mostly in Joburg. Yeah.
We were the first to move down, and then one by one, everybody moved.
So everyone is down in PE now, or different parts of.
I think that's also changed a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. The siblings have sort of spread out. So some of us are in PE.
Okay.
But look, we said, you know what? We'll give it a shot. From my side, I just didn't want to be like just for show. Does that make sense? It needed to be something. Reality for me is real.
Yeah.
And also, hopefully, this will fix certain things in the family, because a lot of these things were there before I came along, even though they might not want to admit it. You know what I mean? Of course, the wife will always be the problem.
How can you say that?
The wife is always the problem, especially if you're not, especially if you're a foreigner, so to speak. Although I am South African, I was naturalized here in 1996. Thank you very much. But
for the record,
you know what I'm saying? A good on 30 years now.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I'll support him, because the thing is, if I say I'm not going to do it, he's not going to do it.
It will affect him.
Both of us are not going to do it. Pello says he's not going to do it. So again, it's going to be me. I'm the problem. So we just did it.
So how has that journey been?
And that's the thing. I want to just kind of pick up from where, from where Jen, was saying, because a lot of the times it looks like Jennifer's making the decision. She'll always look like that. If I look at the two of you, I'll be like, yeah, I must stick to Pini. And I know things are going to happen.
And you're not wrong.
But you're not wrong. Because it always looks like that, from the outside. But I mean, I didn't have to say it, but Jen said, what I like about Jen is that she's not a yes sir, because that wouldn't serve me. That wouldn't serve me any purpose. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, cool. There's this thing that's that's coming up. I've got a certain idea that I'd love to do. She will speak her mind. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of it will always be like, but if you're fine with it, then I'll go with it. Do you know what I mean? So at least then by the time I get to that place, I'm making an informed decision.
Yeah.
For me, I was a little scared. Because I've always had some control over how I appear.
Yeah.
And here I didn't have the control. We didn't have any editorial control at all. It's on that contract. So and no one was supposed to have an editorial control. Whether they did, whether they didn't, we don't know. Okay. So to put yourself out there, and especially after having built a brand. For over 20 years, I think it's probably 25 years.
Yeah.
Then, and for that not to happen, I was praying every single day that this was the right thing. So it was really just one of those faith moves, to kind of say. So even when you're watching it and you're like, yo, Yabona, today we are the villains. But I believe that all this is going to work for the good.
All things work
so
together.
If it wasn't, so, to answer the question of why, I don't know. It was a faith move.
Yeah.
It was a faith move. I had no guarantee how it was going to come out. As a matter of fact, when you guys were watching it for the first time, so were we.
Yeah.
So I hear people talking. I'm like, can do tisona.
Oh, wow.
Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're saying? Oh, my
diaries
word.
were
And yet we were being so nice.
We were busy
from
holding
the first
back.
episode. It's like, ka-chang. I was like, wow, these
Guys,
people.
I think in reality for me, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Because you all shoot, and everybody is hunky-dory, everyone is nice. And then it gets to diaries, and you're kind of,
And then the
that
content
what you
producer
think
is
of
like,
me?
that you need to say something about.
oh my word. So even diaries, you were not together when you were shooting diaries?
No.
Only for the very first episode on the first season, I think.
Just the two of us were together.
And that's
No,
because we were
that-
shooting.
No.
Oh no.
That's the most private
Never.
part of it.
Yeah.
Oh my
Which is
word, I
made
can just
public.
imagine.
It makes sense though from television
No,
making
yeah, of
point
course,
of view.
of course.
Because you want to drive content to certain
Yeah.
direction.
Of course.
And all of that. However, I guess, Nopindi, we were careful not to ask you about questions about the show itself as it pertains to the family, but more as it pertains to you guys.
Don't worry, guys, go for it.
and really about the effect, of the show, because at the end of the day, this is family, extended family, yes, but this is family. How has it affected you guys as a couple, as a family?
As a couple or as a family?
No, as a couple. You're a family,
Yeah.
but I'm, extended family. I'm talking about you guys as a couple.
I won't lie, it was very stressful. I've pretty much gained all the weight I lost last year back because my cortisol levels were up there.
Yeah.
Because also you trying to hold back, even though you could just say, okay, well, I'm also gonna just,
Yeah.
do whatever and say whatever is actually true. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna take the high road.
Yeah.
I just think we're way too old for that anyway. I just can't, you know what I mean? But obviously between us, we stood together and I wasn't going to let that come between us.
Yeah.
I can't have come this far for that to come between us. So for me, there were a lot of eye-opening moments where I was like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't even know that all these years. But hey, at least now I know,
Yeah.
so we know how to move forward. And that explains a few things also. But obviously, it's been very challenging. I think he can speak on that in terms of his family in general.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, you know what? I need to protect my peace. There need to be some boundaries. Like, it's just, We can't be going over things that happened 20 years ago, even 30 years ago, and never getting to any point of resolution. It just doesn't make sense. Finger pointing can only happen for so long. Yeah. What do you want to happen after that?
And can we get to that point where make things work?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. So far, nothing really has been resolved, so to speak.
That must be very hard.
So,
especially sorry for you, Loyiso, because obviously at the end of the day, it's your family.
Yeah.
And you want things to work a certain way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now you kind of feel like you're at a point where you are almost forced to choose, sides when you are not meant to choose sides.
Some of the production guys, they were like, ish, because you guys were obviously a family before, and we don't want to be the people, they say like years later, we will look back and we're like, we went in there to work and we broke that family apart. Yeah. Look, this family is still intact.
Yes.
Okay, this is my first family.
Yeah.
This family is still intact. There's a silver lining to the reality show in terms of where we are as in our relationships within my family.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Bible says that what is in the dark will be brought to the light.
Yeah.
So just because things are in the dark, it doesn't mean that things are fine and they're sorted. We're all in our 40s and our 50s right now, and it's about time that we bring the things out that are in the dark into the light. And sometimes things exposed is actually, they don't have to be resolved, but at least they are in the light for everyone to see whether they need to be exposed or not. I was called a peacemaker, but that's because I always have faith that things are going to work out, and that's how they should be. But I've been working in corporate for a few years now, and I know that it doesn't always have to get to a point where you get along with everyone. The work has got to be the work has got to be done.
Yeah, it's what brought you together.
And so yes, there is a part of me that is saddened that we find ourselves, like in this place where some of us are not necessarily talking. Some of us feels like there's issues to be resolved. Yeah. But I think before we can start to fix those things, I hope the reality show brought one thing. And that is that each of us have to deal with ourselves before we come together. I mean, like, before we get together, because these problems were there before. And just like any other family has, a lot of people used to say, yay, guys, you remind me of my family. Yes. But Mna, I'll never go on TV.
And when you just did.
You just did, but it's also exposed things, like things about us. And if that was the purpose of God, for God to create this family, so that other people can see themselves through us and therefore fix their issues, relationships that are far away broken, then you know what? We have, we have done what we wanted to do. There is obviously, I think for mom, it's not, it's not easy.
Yeah. Of course.
Because all mothers want is harmony,
kids to live
and
in
for
harmony.
all of that stuff to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess, to sort of answer it, yes, it is difficult, but I don't regret that we did it.
Yeah.
Would I do it again? I don't know.
No, we're looking forward to season
a lot of prayer and fasting, but you cannot not do it. I mean, you can't leave us in the lurch,
guys.
Oh, we can.
No. You can't, because you.
No, I think the lessons are done now. It's gonna be like Police Academy 8 and 9.
No, guys, you have
Transformers
no idea.
5. No,
I think the whole idea. First, people thought you. I'm not saying you are not perfect, but people thought the Bala family was this picture perfect family. You know what I mean? And now when you guys came, you were like other people's families. And I think that was the take for most people.
Yeah.
To say, oh, geez, they're like us. Because prior to that, all people kind of thought everything is in its box. Every person is like, you know what I mean? So it will be a sad thing if you don't come back, because honestly speaking, we're going to miss Jen's diaries there.
My diaries? Why? I didn't say much in the diaries.
You know what's funny though?
We're going to miss Jen's spice, guys. Come on.
It's funny, after season 1, because we've done 2 seasons, right? After season 1, people are like, yeah, guys, you must get back together. We want to see season 2. After season 2, there's some people are like,
When is season 3 coming?
no. But funny enough, though, I'm starting to hear people and even then saying, no, guys, I think we're fine, man.
No, shame. Guys,
we need a break.
No,
you know what I mean?
Guys, I have to tell you,
but
I'm sorry, babe. I don't usually watch reality shows.
Yeah.
I mean what I'm saying, Pindi knows, but your show, really, really, really.
drama, that's right.
Not just that.
Was
for
real.
me, this
Yeah,
show
it was
was
truthful.
real. You get what I'm saying? We've been on reality shows. We've actually produced reality shows. You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying your show was so real. Okay, besides the fact that I'm from PE and I've got family. I've got family at
also
Dinaka.
love that.
I've got family at Dinaka. So I love the streets, when the camera, I'm like, I know that. So, but for me, it was really, the show is one of the realest reality shows. Do you get what I'm saying?
And that's what matters.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Is authentic.
Yeah.
People are attracted to that. You get what I'm saying? If you don't consider doing the show, and a lot of our viewers would be angry because they would want us to go to the juice, what happened during that scene and all that. We're not going to do that. But really, if you guys were not to do S3, of the show, as a spin-off to the show, you guys would consider doing your own show, because your own show with your kids, I think there's a lot of issues there. When I say issues, I mean there's a lot of content, there's a lot of business, because we see Jen driving up and down with the kids, and you do this and you do that. So there's a lot, that could
So
come
as
up.
producers of reality shows, what do you guys think?
I think Mo is correct.
Yeah.
I think, guys,
No, 'cause-
there's a lot of reality shows that kind of look scripted,
Yeah.
even though they're called reality. And I think one of the things that came out in your guys' show was the
It
fact
was
that
like, this is real.
it kind of looks like, oh my gosh, if you were scripted, well, then it means you guys were good.
But
Because
Sudi, it's also
nothing
people.
sounded.
It's also people that we know that know you, who are like, guys, is this real? And, no, trust me, that's real. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, it's really, really authentic.
But to move forward, guys, I understand obviously that there may be issues, dynamics within the families. I'm worried about you and Sis Pinky. Surely, guys, something needs to happen. You know what I mean? I understand what some things may not be resolved in the show in terms of, yeah, we see you, kissing and hugging and whatnot. But are there means or are there ways of trying to mend that? I know you've been saying, I didn't know there was even something,
Because it really became a thing of, well, I guess because the cameras are here, that's why this is coming out. I don't know, because like I said, it was news to me for quite some time, I think to you too.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew obviously we weren't that close and all that, but we've always been cordial. I mean, if she comes knocking on our door, I'm not going to say, no, you can't come in and see the kids.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, I mean, even if she doesn't want to talk to me, she can call her brother and say, hey, I want to take the kids out, or can I come visit? She comes and visits. This is the other thing. Like,
That is not captured.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I can whip out all the pictures, and all the videos and stuff. So she's always invited to anything, like if it's a kid's birthday party or whatever the case is. Of course,
Yeah.
So I just think, I really, like you, I'm getting to my, my half a century soon. I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be like abrasive or anything, but it really, like, the focus needs to be on something, bigger. I
Much
feel like
bigger.
there isn't really a major issue. So I'm not sure where then the problem is, do you understand? Because technically there is no major issue,
I get
Yeah.
So
But would that be, we are viewers of the show, and where you guys left us, you left us with, there's an issue. Do you get what I'm saying? And I guess Pindy's point is around, because any person, I'm sure this is not the first time you hear somebody asking this, it'll be like, in that aspect, of the show, guys, you and Pinky, can you guys, you get what I'm saying? Because in their mind, that's the last thing they saw on TV, that you guys aren't actually...
Well, no, we don't hang out, but regardless, we don't hang out.
You're
You know what I
cordial with
mean?
each other. Yeah.
I mean, his siblings don't hang out with my siblings, even when they were still in South Africa. So, do you understand? Like, we speak, but we're family, yes, by marriage and everything. I don't know how else to answer it. Like, it's just...
So I want to just refer back to the show.
Sure.
Because one of the last scenes that we saw where this issue was obviously going to be resolved was us sitting in a lounge, coming to, because there was promises that Bingi and Jen would get together and they'll have a conversation. Earlier on in the season, I said, okay, well, I don't mind obviously being there as the third person because I'm the brother and I'm also, and she was like, no, I don't trust you to obviously do that because I may be, one-sided. It's okay, and then when we get there, Zwei is then there as a mediator together with me. At the end of that, of that scene, we're like, okay, cool. At least we've spoken about this. We've said that things are obviously, they may not be great right now, but at least there's an opening for the kids to see each other, that we must never think that the children can never meet because of this. So there's that. And then let's see as how we work it out.
Yeah.
But in the diary session, it's, I don't trust her. I don't trust him. It's still going to remain like that.
I'm lying.
So, or that, she's lying. So I do feel, like that maybe this is a question that should possibly, they should probably go to the, to the two of them.
Okay.
Because we still cannot figure where the issue is. And even to the last one, to the last scene, because there was this whole thing throughout that, and I'm going to tell her now. We're gonna get there and I'm gonna tell him because he cannot control, like his household, and I'm gonna do this thing. And then we get there and we don't know that there's been this entire build-up. So that's why we are caught by surprise at what happens at that last, at that last dinner table, which, by the way, was the actual Last Supper.
That's
at the Last Supper. So until today, there's a whole thing of like, I have given up on it because I cannot figure exactly where the issue is. And I'm tired of trying and fix stuff. So sometimes the best thing to do is just to say, you're not cutting someone off, but you're cutting yourself from fixing the issue, you know?
You're actually right, because there were definitely a few scenes where we were told, okay, this is not scripted, so I confirm that, but we'll tell, we're speaking about this.
Yes.
We get there and now we're speaking about something that happened 5 years ago. And we're like, okay.
That's not what
you know what I mean?
Agreed, we're going to talk about.
So it's as if like, with the cameras on, now suddenly it was a moment for people to to speak about their issues,
Yeah, and the other thing is, just to reiterate what you were saying, we've never withheld our kids from anybody. In fact, there's been lots of times where kids come and sleep over at our house. If they're, even now in PE, 2 years ago, we had all the kids, I think, at our house sleeping over. They were there for I don't know how long. We always, they see each other. They speak to each other. They FaceTime each other. They speak to each other all the time. We always make sure. Yeah. Even when we're in Joburg, we would call up and say, hey, are you guys there? Are you guys there this weekend? Can the kids come? Can we come with the kids, kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to handle it, because even if there's confusion amongst adults, but it would be great for kids
and
not
you
to
know
be
why?
part.
Because we grew up, I grew up with not parents fighting, my mom and dad, but families fighting. And I remember what that felt like for me, because when I'm at my dad's home, I used to feel like, if mama knew that I was here, she would, you understand?
Yeah.
So I know what that thing feels like. And yet, meanwhile, there's probably no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of that,
Yeah.
So it is very confusing, because I feel like, and I think I voiced this on the show, but I feel like sometimes it's one-sided. So it's always being about our kids. What about the other kids?
Yeah, they're,
You know what I
they're
mean?
not the only grandkids.
Kids,
Yeah.
Well, maybe other parents are not holding the kids back and they're allowing them.
But then that means they have been together. So that contradicts then.
Oh, yeah.
I just think deal with your problems.
I see.
And then you won't have time to deal with mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Do you somehow feel often that you guys, I don't know, in a sense, portrayed. I'm not sure if that's the correct word. Portrayed as villains, or the guys to whom the fault is with. You know what I mean? The fault is this guy, because we've seen that a lot. In the show, that Jan this, or even at times, Loy, this. You know what I mean? And did that come across to you guys? Did you feel that you'd have to bear the brunt, certain things?
Mm-hmm. You go, baby.
I think in the first season especially, it was definitely constructed on purpose like that. Sorry. But I even said, I didn't realize that I'm the villain here, because it was edited. Yeah. As much as it's not scripted, it was selectively edited.
Yeah.
So you won't see me serving anyone when they're at our house, or having a laugh with mama or whatever. In fact, you never see me laughing at all, because obviously the topics were always very serious. And I also thought it was quite unfair, but what can I do about it? The more you try to defend yourself, the more you look guilty, basically. And I think for me, and I realized, okay, I guess this is also because I'm the only Makoti there.
Yeah.
The burden is literally on me, And on top of that, I'm not originally South African.
Yeah.
And we can point out X, Y, Z. And I'm the one who wants to raise my kids the way I feel kids should be raised. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's the perfect content almost, I guess, for
it's
that.
as if, it's as if we have to live by a higher standard. Than everyone else. I was surprised when I watched that first episode of the first season. I sat there going, wow. Like literally, wow. Because we were told that, okay, cool. We're going to be shooting you guys as a family. So we were on our way to go through. Now, usually it's going to be just a meet up.
Yeah.
We visit Mama, quite often. There's never been a time when Mama says, Jen, you must wear a duk. Jen, you must do this. You know what I mean?
I see.
Never. There was never. And even when we're there, if you notice, no one says, Jen, here's a duk for you to wear. Right? Everyone acts as if like everything is perfectly fine. And something obviously the audience doesn't know is that because of where the cameras have to go, you have to come in a certain how do you say it, like in a certain way. Like for instance, it's gonna be they're gonna shoot with Umama and Upinki and Upelo, and then Zoya is going to arrive, and then we arrive with the kids.
Yeah.
We were there for about 2 hours and we had to stay away because they said, no, we're waiting for Zoya.
Yeah.
So eventually Zoya arrives. We were small kids. Do you know what I mean? But we thought, okay, cool, no, that's fine. But Zoya really has got to go. has got to get there. So Zoya eventually gets there. And then they said, about an hour later, that's fine, guys, now you can come. So then we arrive. And then we start shooting the very, very first episode. Okay? The crazy thing is that at the when we're now watching the first season back, what comes out is, they are always late. I sat there going, wow, after all we had to wait, they made us wait. I mean, this is like 2 o'clock. We've got children who have to eat at certain, at certain times. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, even with that chapter, God rest his soul, is like, hey, he's put here, faka and I'm sitting there going, even you, that chapter.
And can see this. And I might add, I think we must have asked at least 2 or 3 times or so, knowing that obviously we're shooting. I'm thinking, okay, maybe let's just ask, do you want me to wear a duk? No, everybody's just casual.
That's how you usually come,
But, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
And might I add also, it was 36 degrees. So I'm like, okay, well, if I don't have to, I'm not going to, because I'm going to be boiling.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially when everyone is fine with it.
I'm still breastfeeding,
Baby, and you were like, let me not wear jeans like I usually would. You know what I mean? Like I have for the past however many years.
Yeah.
But today, maybe let me at least then just wear a dress.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do. Like if we go to Makazi or whoever, or if there's something, I will wear my skirt, I will wear my duk. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody knows that. I mean, when you are married to a closer family, I think that's one of the things that you quickly know, that you need to dress a certain way.
But I also think that family from family, it's different. But now because the cameras are there, you see the whole thing about our families is that we want things to be done, not because we necessarily think it's the right thing, but it's just so that our neighbors don't look at us in a certain way. It's the whole thing about our communities are like that.
It's
you know
not
what
about
I mean?
the family.
So who you are, and your status, right? Like my status is that I'm a child of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That changes anywhere. I can be in jail. I will never be in jail, thank God. You know what I mean? I can be anywhere, but what gives me the pride that I have is that I'm a child of God. So it's irrespective of what anybody thinks of me. Do you know what I mean? It is from that I draw my confidence.
Yeah. Sure.
But obviously in the world, right, your status is dependent on what the next person thinks of you. And so with us, especially in the townships where we live so closely to each other, all right, that is what matters. So if, for instance, we were going on a holiday with the entire family and we're going to go and stay at a farm, at a secluded farm, I promise you right now, probably there's someone watching, who's married to a family. I promise you right now, they'll be so lax with the rules. But you must come back into society, and then suddenly there's going to be rules. So the rules are not because that's how the family wants it. It's because of how society, who've got their own problems, are going to view you. Because we are so dependent on what people think, of us.
That's so good.
That's sad.
This is a reality.
It's there. So
in this reality show.
So do you think how people viewed you after the show was different? I know for Jen, for instance, I know it was, because people never knew Jen, but suddenly they had this idea, which sometimes you think it's TV generated idea. It's not the truth about what the person is. But do you feel that after the show, perhaps people looked at you differently?
Oh, definitely. I think, because I do social media for a living for the last, 10 years or so.
Yeah.
So people who obviously have followed my journey know, and they'll be like, what is going on? Why are they showing this? Or even people that know me personally who might be considered celebrities will be on my WhatsApp going, what? Why are they saying that? But you always helping the family, and like, what is going on, And the thing is, they won't show that. We're usually the first to be called if there's something or needed something or, whatever the case is. If we can't, obviously we can't. But in most cases, we will try and make a plan,
Yeah.
So I really don't know what the situation is with that. But in terms of the audience, I think for someone who didn't follow me before, didn't know anything about me, it also didn't give you a good sense of who I am, because, like I said, we're only speaking about it's me within the context of his family. Within the context of the discussions we're having only. Not even within the context of the family. Because it's not like, oh, Umama needs help with that, or can we go, do whatever.
But even that was a problem, right?
And that's the thing. It's you can't win, basically. I can't win. If I do what I'm supposed to do, it's not right. If I do what I am supposed to, you know what I mean? It's just you can't win.
But the house, guys, the corner, how is it?
All right, that must be one of the biggest talking points.
But guys, Loyiso, studying
I know. You said, before we started rolling the tape, you said, okay, there's one thing we don't. There's one rule. There's no comment. No. I, my sister, no.
No comment.
No comment. I want to touch on what, I want to touch on what Jane was, on what Jane was saying. That's why I really want to say that it's really just been the Lord that we are where we are right now. People think about us in retrospect, like from where they are now.
From their perspective.
No, from where we, in hindsight. Okay. Hindsight. So, but many who followed the series will actually forget that we were the villains for a good 7 to 8. 7 to 8, sometimes 9 episodes. Those were some of the most painful weeks we've ever faced, and we had to speak words of affirmation and encouragement, towards us, and saying, God is not gonna put us to shame.
The truth will be revealed. Yeah.
But it's fun enough, at the end of each season, it's turned like this. I'm not saying that someone has to be at the bottom so that we can be at the top, but the perception has changed, and the truth shows at those times. The people that I've met, who've watched the show, I think for me that the show has actually brought me out on who I am that
Yes.
before no one would have ever known. Do you know what I mean? People were like, oh, shit, apart from, kwanya, banya, banya. They'll be like, man, you're just like, you're just so humble. I don't say that about myself. You know what I mean? We like the kind of person that you are, the way that you love your wife. And your wife is just steadfast, man. She must never move. And that's the kind of a wife that you need. So I think, like, when you speak about the moral of the story, that has, God has made that really work to our favor. Because there were times I was sitting there going, come on, really, we can't be looking this bad through it all. So I'm glad that a lot of people, even are probably tuning into this because of how much they admire us as a couple, and all of that could have only been the Lord, because there were moments when I was like, there's no coming out of this one. Seriously, there is no coming out of this one.
Sure.
We were with my younger brother Opelo yesterday, and we wanted to go to the mall. So I think Opelo was like, "No, it's fine. I'll accompany you." And we're like, "Oh, guys, the three of us walking at Santon Mall." You can just imagine. So that's the other thing. There's a relevance that we've gotten that, for me, had long disappeared. Not that I wanted it back, but it's like what happened. It's like I'm back in 2005 now. Small little. I mean, the little ones never knew me now. It was mostly their grandmothers.
That is so sweet.
Now it's like,
That is so.
I also like how you guys embraced Pello. I mean that genuinely.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, it's very easy to just become maybe a villain, because I think in the last season, Pello was almost like, everyone is at Pello. You are wrong. You are doing this. You are. As much as you guys would be honest with him, because, I mean, there were moments where you will tell him that, look, you are overdoing this and all of that. But however, you also became a safe space for him. And for me, that is so genuine, because family, as much as people may be wrong in how they act, but also you want to become a safe space where I don't feel like, no one wants me. Yeah. How is that journey with you guys and Pello, as we're about to wrap this interview?
You go, baby.
I know you love him to bits.
No, I also tell him, I actually didn't watch about 6 episodes of season 2, by the way.
Why?
Because I was there when most of it happened. Well, some of it happened.
Okay.
And I just I wanted to keep my peace, because it was just...
Trust me, you relive the whole thing when you watch it.
I still haven't watched some of those episodes.
I can imagine.
I was busy with the kids or something when it was on, or something happened.
Busy with the kids again?
No, in the evenings.
We're
It
watching
showed in
you.
the evening. Because it shows in the evenings. It was quite
No, I'm
late.
joking.
In fact, I think it moved an hour later, so that was always,
Yeah.
But I feel like with Pello, like you said, we wanted to make sure, and that's not just because of the show, we've been there for him, because as much as, yes, he's doing something wrong or not doing something wrong, it's like if it was my child, my children are going to grow up. If they do something wrong, I want them to know I'm still the first person you're going to call.
Yeah.
It's not to say that I condone what you're doing, but I don't want you running to somebody else, a stranger, because you could even end up dead or worse, worse in that situation you're in, because now you feel like you can't be honest and you can't be, you can't trust that I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
We can deal with the what you didn't do and what you must do after, but you need to just be there so they feel okay and they feel safe, So I think that's where we are in terms of our relationship with him.
Yeah.
He's not always available, so by default, I'm the one who always has to drop everything, go sort something out or whatever the case is. And obviously when he is there, then he's also involved. So through that, my relationship with him obviously has gone a lot closer. And he's in a way like a younger brother to me, you know. And of course, you don't want your family to be hurt, or you want to try and guide them, but you also don't want to force them, because at the end of the day, no one's going to do something they're not ready for.
Yeah.
Sure. You can talk, and the more you start waving your finger, the more you start alienating them, and you want them to know that you are open and that, yes, you understand, but you're still saying that, hey, listen, but obviously these things don't happen overnight, especially when this has been going on for 25 years or something.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, our time is almost up, but actually up. But we want to close this with a game. Is that okay?
I think we need something lighter. And you know what I mean? Your reality was kind of like too real.
Yeah.
I think let's bring something light. Let's laugh a
That's
bit.
the thing. You never saw the light side of our life in the reality show because it wasn't about that.
No, that's true. That's true.
But yeah.
Look, the game is really very simple. And when you answer the question, you're supposed to look right straight at us. In other words, not look next door.
Let me look next door now. And
When you're answering.
All right. So I'll ask one question.
I have
Ask
to at least have something just in case I watch. You know what I mean? So at least
No. You're safe. Not bad. It won't be that bad.
No. It's really so.
You're not helping, you know.
So when you guys have had a disagreement, right, in the course of your marriage, who apologizes first?
do we answer? Does she go first or do I go first?
Do we
You'll
point?
say together.
You can point here or here.
I don't know, actually.
Let's see.
Both?
Both.
It depends on the argument.
Yeah.
You know?
And suppose what the
Yeah,
issue is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But most of the time, who?
Apologizes first.
Yeah. It's Jen.
I don't know if we immediately apologize. We discuss.
Yeah.
You'll have a meeting.
No.
Because sometimes, I mean, you guys have been married for so long now and with children and so on. And sometimes you apologize, you know, even when you know that, okay.
The other person is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think no, but I do think it's equal though.
Yeah.
I don't think we even have those kinds of disagreements anymore that much.
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, well, I don't think so, you don't think so, okay, that's fine. But
And
then we'll discuss it later again when, you know, the mood has changed or we're done with something or we have time to discuss it.
Or
But
kind of a calm down.
and otherwise it's like, okay, well, you better be right kind of thing. You know what I mean? Otherwise it will have consequences. But yeah.
I get
It
you.
is that.
I suppose when you've been with each other for that long,
Yeah.
there's some arguments where, well, there are some things that are no longer arguments. It's either, oh, you think so? Okay, but
Okay.
I think a certain way.
Yeah.
Let's move.
And even
type of
like
thing.
we're even not joking about it. Well, I'm still right, but it's fine. You can do it. You know what I mean?
All right. The next one is, okay. Who is a stricter parent between the two of you?
I can answer that question.
Oh, we were right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I can
So
answer
that
that.
we're good.
We good.
We thought it was Jen.
Well,
Well,
by
it is.
default, as they say these days, I'm a married single parent, so I have to be strict.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
So
have
whenever
some-
he's available,
He
he's
has
nice.
to.
Nice.
Oh no,
Well,
no.
he
I've
has
got
to
the
be there
games
to,
and
you know.
Yeah.
But lately he has been.
Yeah.
There have
Yes.
been times where
Is it?
he's been there now a little bit longer,
Yeah.
and now he realizes what it is to be a mom.
You kidding?
And then I'll be like, hey. And my oldest daughter and I will laugh and say, you see, now he knows.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But the question was
Sweet.
the strict test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
So
the
you are
strict one.
strict, but she's the strictest.
Yeah.
I definitely put boundaries for the kids because they need to understand that, you know,
Yeah.
you can't just.
Yeah.
There's always time for fun. And
I
games.
love
always
how
time
you
for fun.
love them, because one of the things that no one can ignore is how you love your kids.
I do, Shane,
Right?
my little baby.
That is like so known by everyone. But I like the fact that you also are very strict when it comes to their upbringing and stuff.
I don't want them to think, oh, my dad is this and my family, and like now I must. No, we're not entitled. We are
Yeah.
just regular people. Their job is different, and by such, you know,
Yeah.
the public presence is different. But they need to know everybody's
Right
a
from
person.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right is right and wrong is
And
wrong.
so I think,
you know?
it's all good and well to say, to be strict. But really the wonderful thing about, the boundaries, that we've set is that those are constant. So I think children get to a place of of being scared because they don't know what they're going to do that's going to get them into trouble.
I get
So we make it a point that the boundaries, at least you know within what boundaries to play. So they are very free children, and they know exactly what it is. And that doesn't matter whether we're happy, we're sad. those boundaries stay the same. Yeah.
That's
And
good.
sometimes we are lax, you know. You can't have sweeties today. Okay, fine, you can have an ice cream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there are those days.
It's always good,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's
But they
it's
need
not
to
an
do-
everyday
yeah.
thing. It's
Depends
just
if the mom is in the good mood. Then you can have your way.
we've done
No,
well.
guys, this has been so great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
you.
time.
Thank
And
you, guys.
Thank you
for your
really.
time.
This really means a
Thank
lot.
you for being real.
You know?
Thank you for being real. Yeah.
That was
It was a pleasure. I
Yeah.
wish we could have another.
You know what I mean?
So there's a lot more to talk about.
No, I
Dog
think
love.
this is
We'll
how
talk
we,
again after season
No,
3.
no. This is what we're gonna do. Yes.
No,
Oh,
it's-
jeez, there's hope. There's hope. But look, we'll make this easy. I think the next time we're in PE, let's record something
Absolutely,
nice.
let's do that.
yeah.
We've gotten out of, the TV stuff out of the way.
Yeah, just
now let's
getting
talk
to the relationship
now.
and
You know what I
awesome.
mean?
Yeah.
I thought that's why we were here, to be honest. But you
Yeah.
see, now
Hey,
you're part
but
of
the
the
spirit-
reality show TV.
The thing
you
is,
know, we get here
yeah.
for one meeting, it's another meeting.
No, it's because let me tell you something. We did send out a sort of a mini survey to say we're going to be sitting up with
understand.
you guys,
Okay.
and
And
everyone was
Everyone
like,
was the show.
"We want to know about the show, please."
You know what I mean?
So we thought,
Understand.
let's get that right. But
Yeah.
guys, we cannot thank you enough.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Like I said, there will be part 2 somewhere in the coast.
future,
We'll have to
Sure.
make a plan.
Yeah.
But this has been great. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
you.
Jen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
for
you
the
so
wonderful
much,
work
guys.
that you both do.
Appreciate it.
Me and Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So we love
I've
you.
had so many DMs about the show, by the way. And a lot of them about how, girl, you're strong, because if it was me, I'd have been long gone by now.
Exactly.
And also people mirroring certain things and just venting and just saying, you know, thank you, you're showing me that, you know, I can stand up for myself or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And so it's just been very eye-opening. And also, I'm an empath, so sometimes it gets a bit...
I get
Yeah.
you. Ah, man. This has been great.
This is Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you again the following week.
We'll see you soon, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.